Today on the Pro Talk podcast, we're talking to a rock star. But before we meet the rock star, remember, push the subscription button as well as that notification bell. That way you never miss an episode with another amazing professional here on the Pro Talk podcast. So today's guest, I mentioned he's a rock star. We're going to find out what it's like to be on the MTV and have your band's song have the #1 video for 6 consecutive weeks on the Headbangers Ball. We're also going to find out that music business, it's not all glamour, glitz, and girls. We're going to find out there's some ups and downs with the music business. Let me tell you some of the names of the bands that this guy's been in. See if you can figure out who our guest today is. How about Bite the Bullet? That's going back a ways. Guys, remember Southgang? They were always a favorite of mine. The Southern boys that make the noise. Then I think they were the Floyd's Funk Revival. And most of you know the Marvelous Three. Yep, that's it. We're talking to the main man, the drummer from all those bands, Mr. Slug Mitchell. Slug, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How you doing, Rob?
I'm great. And full disclosure, I call him Douglas because I've kidded with him. I've known Mr. Slug Mitchell, Doug Mitchell, since we were in high school. We were in the drum line together. First things first, that's why I'm wearing my dark green West Drum Chieftain shirt.
I love it.
There you go.
You should have told me. I would have matched you.
Well, did you know that it's our buddy Jeff Hines' birthday today? So we're going to big shout out to Mr. Tony.
What's up, Hines? Happy birthday. Yeah, I think I woke him up this morning with a happy birthday text.
Yeah, about 9 o'clock, 10 a.m.
Yep.
Yeah, I've known Doug since we were in high school. He was in the drum line. I was a couple years older. And I will say, I'm not kissing your butt, but you're one of in the top 3 of my all-time drummers that I've personally known.
Thank you, sir.
There's a guy up in Pennsylvania named Chad Ireland. He was amazing. And a guy that we lost just last year, Greg Smith, and you. So you're in my all-time top 3.
Wow, that's awesome. And thank you very much for saying that, Rob.
Yeah. You know, it's weird. Jeff Guerin passed away last year and Greg Smith passed away. And I told my wife, I said, you know, when you have teammates on sports teams, you're together for 2 or 3 months. And there's something tight about a drum line. You know, you're in the band every day for 9 months, several years in a row. That just hit me last year when we lost those guys.
Yeah, there's just something about being in the drum line. You know, if you're in the drum line in high school, you're cool.
Yeah. The coolest.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. Well, you know what? People want to find out, man. Southgang. The song was Tainted Angel, #1, 6 weeks in a row. First things first, did you hear your song on the radio first or did you see your video first?
I think I saw the video first, to be honest. We were living in LA at the time. So, yeah, I think I saw the video first because we were on the bus the whole time. So we weren't really listening to radio a lot. They were throwing us in radio promotion shows and everything like that. I can remember it coming on Headbangers Ball, and it got played in the Ball Buster competition. And we ended up winning that, I think, for like 10 weeks in a row or something like that. Yeah. And but yeah, I think the video was the first thing I saw. I mean, it's hard to remember back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that hair was up there, man.
Dude, I was just going with the times.
That's right.
I'd be like that right now, right?
But it looked awesome, though. It was perfect.
It was fun. It was fun. You know, back then it was, I missed the 80s a little bit. It just seems like there was more rock stars back then and more of a, when you saw somebody in a band, you knew they were in a band. Nowadays, you can be walking down the road and see somebody and they could be in Three Doors Down or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
But you would never know. I don't know. It just seemed more characterized a little bit better back then.
Well, you know, you can be good in music and be in a band and sound like a rock star, but the commitment to grow your hair, that doesn't happen overnight.
And for me, that was hard.
Is that right?
I got that curly hair that's just hard to control. So it took forever for me to grow my hair out, man. And then when we finally cut it back when we were getting into the Marvelous 3 and stuff, I was like, "Thank goodness, Lord,"
A little bit
you
easier.
know? Yeah, a lot easier, a lot easier. So, yeah,
But
yeah,
it added
good
to the
time.
flair. I mean, there's something that, a drummer, with the flair and, we get rid of that technique once we get in a band because what we were taught, and then it's like, well, if you don't have the elbows up and the hair flying with it, it's not there.
That's what we grew up knowing, and, I wish I'd have thought a little bit more when I was younger because having that kinda technique, elbows and shoulders is kinda taking a toll a little bit, So, just be careful you know, work on more technique.
But you mentioned your elbow. You had elbow surgery. Is that correct?
I did on my left elbow. I had, 3 types of surgery. I had cubital, not cubital tunnel, carpal tunnel, and then trigger finger.
Good grief.
Yeah, I had all 3 of them done at once. So, and it did help. It did help. But now I've got shoulder problems, and it's in both shoulders. So it's not just something. I think it's just over time. Both my shoulders are kind of over. They've overdone it.
Is it because when you had the cymbals up high, you're hitting it with the force or
I
what?
did, and I was always
Yeah.
kind of like this,
Yeah.
and it's just over time. It just 56 years old, so I'm feeling it now.
Good battle scars, right?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you mentioned to me, we were talking not too long ago that you said you were guys are right on the cusp. I think that was at 90 when you're on MTV.
Yeah.
And so you're riding that wave and what comes along but grunge. And you said it was actually a good thing that you didn't make it. Can you explain what that means?
Well, if you kind of think about it, it was the end of the '80s. When we moved out to LA in 1988. I graduated in 1987, moved out to LA in 1988, and got out there, and everything was still, it's right after Guns N' Roses did their big thing. They just came out with Appetite, and everybody wanted to be Axl Rose. And then, all of a sudden, we started hearing the grunge scene come in, like Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, and all of a sudden, by the early '90s, our type of music, the hair metal or whatever you wanna call it, was kinda dipping out, and we could see that. And, what I mean by it's kind of a blessing that it's, a lot of hair metal bands, like, I've got some friends in hair metal bands, they can't ever escape their hair metal days. They got so big where they cannot do anything other but their hair metal music. And we weren't quite big enough, thankfully, and we were able to escape Southgang. And then we formed a band called Floyd's Funk Revival in the '90s. And that was kind of like a funk band. Good songs. It was still Jace, Butch, and myself, and we had a girl singer with us, and we didn't quite know what we wanted to do. We were kind of going towards a funky blues type of thing because the music just changed, and we knew we had to change. So we changed, and there's a girl named Christina in the band also, and she was married to Jace. So we toured for like 92 or 3 until about 97 or 98, and they were married, Jace and Christina, and she became pregnant. So we continued to tour and play out as long as we could until she couldn't tour anymore. And then she came off, she had to come off maternity leave. And then, so Jace at the time, he was like, man, I'm about to have a kid. I think I need to probably get a better job and settle down. So we broke up the band kind of, and Butch and I still wanted to keep playing. So we formed the Marvelous Three. And Jace went off and for a couple months, and we got another bass player for a couple months. And finally, Jace could not stand it anymore, and he came back to us and said, "Hey, man, can we? You mind? I'd love to come back with y'all and play." We were like, "Of course, man." And so that's how the Marvelous Three started. When Christina became pregnant, we had to come off the road, but Butch and I wanted to keep going, so we formed Marvelous Three.
Now, let me go back a couple steps in that you won when you were with Southgang. You went on Letterman, Tonight Show with Jay Leno, correct? Or
Not in Southgang. That was Marvelous Three.
okay, okay. Oh, and that was Freak of the Week. My bad. I totally messed that
Yeah.
up. Now, how fun was that?
So, yeah, so like I said, it's funny because we went through 3 different reincarnations from Southgang to Floyd's Funk Revival and then to Marvelous 3. I mean, we did 3 different cycles, and that's kinda cool, you know?
Well, I enjoyed. I saw you guys 2 different times in Atlanta with Floyd's Funk Revival, and man, I tell you what, I think you were busier then than some of the rock stuff. It's like between the cowbell and all the stuff that you were playing. I
Oh,
liked
it
your
was,
stuff.
definitely that was more of a jam band. It was
Yeah,
great. It was great songs and stuff, but we would go off into different sections for a while and
yeah,
definitely more free. Marvelous 3 became more songs,
yeah,
song oriented, which is pretty much what you want. That's what I like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to the beginning. So you grew up in Rome, Georgia, and what age did you start playing drums?
I think I was 11, and it's funny you mentioned one of our mentors, Greg Smith. I actually took drum lessons from him. I think I started in 4th grade.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I took from him for a few years, and bless his heart, I actually went to his visitation a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was an awesome drummer. But
totally great. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I started when I was 11, took for a few years, and then was in the school band, of course, junior high school, and then high school. We were all together, and it was great. It was great. I mean, the main thing band taught me was it taught me a lot of discipline. If I can say that, it taught me a lot of discipline, and I thank our old band director, Mr. Inglis, for that.
yeah.
He's a great guy.
Well, I was going to ask you. I said I was going to ask on my notes here. I was going to ask, who is your toughest teacher and favorite teacher and or biggest influence? I'm sitting there thinking he's going to say Gene Inglis.
All 3 of those toughest,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
best. I mean, he was tough and very good. Yeah, he taught me a lot. He taught me a lot.
And he was a drummer himself, a very good drummer, and he knew what we were doing in the back of the band room.
Gosh, I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out. We almost did, but
Yeah, that Ozzy concert was worth it.
oh my gosh. I'll tell you what, walking up those stairs from the Omni after that show, though, my heart was going, "What are we gonna do?"
Yeah, that's
You
a whole
know?
nother podcast.
It was great. It was great.
But okay, so I tell you what, knowing that you were good, I knew, talking about Jeff Hines and knowing what you guys were putting together in Rome, Georgia, I knew you were good musically, and I had heard about Butch Walker being this good guitar player, and so you were tearing up the Rome scene. But I tell you what, no matter what you guys ever did, you had, I'm going to say it, you had the balls to pack up and go to LA. It wasn't like you had a record contract. And a lot of people think, oh, they packed up because they had money. Tell me something about that. Did you guys live in a 1-bedroom apartment or did you have somebody setting things up for you? How was it when you got out to LA?
It was culture shock for sure. I was only 18 years old, and we got our parents to let us move out there because we told them we were going to be going to MIT, which is the Music Institute out there for school, and that was our intentions. So Butch and I actually, you had to apply for it and get accepted in there, and Butch and I both got accepted. But once we got out there with our band, we took our band out there, and we got out there, and there was no way we could work a day job to support ourselves, to pay for our little one-bedroom apartment, which we had 7 people in it at one time, and we had to work. We had we had to make our band play. We had to play out. That's the reason we went out there, and we had to go to school. We didn't have to go to school, so we had to give up one. So, we just ended up not going to school out there, but everything turned out okay. I was lucky our parents let us go, but they would never send me money. They would always send me what they called a care package. And that was just like detergent and, underwear, socks, things I hated to buy. But yeah, so we went out there and we were out there for about, I guess, 3 months, and we did our first show at the Whiskey A Go Go on Sunset Strip. It was a Monday night. It was called No Bozo Jam, and then there's like 10 bands that would play, and you'd only play like maybe 3 to 5 songs, and it was just you would have to basically within 5 minutes switch over all the gear and play. Well, we did that show, and after that show, we got written up in the local paper as the tightest band on Sunset Strip. And we were like, oh my gosh, we couldn't believe it because Jace had just joined the band like 2 months before, and we got that write up. And from there on, we just started taking off, and we were out there maybe a year and a half, and we got our first record deal um, with Electra. It's my dog.
It's all right. Dogs need camera time
With
too.
a no, I'm sorry, with Virgin Records, Charisma Virgin. We got our deal out there, and we were one of the last bands to get signed from like the 80s hair metal bands.
Hmm.
So we got signed, and we thought it was great and everything. But unfortunately, like we were talking about earlier, the whole 90s scene with Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, that whole different sound was coming in, and we just knew that our type of music was going out.
Mm.
So we in Southgang, we did some things. We went to China, did a tour of China, which was a nightmare. And that kinda drew the last line for us, and that's where we kinda broke up everything. As soon as we got back to the States, we broke up the band, and Butch had some different things going on as far as writing, with the Floyds. He had some stuff, unfortunately, Jesse wasn't with us anymore. It's just, it was a good parting of ways and everything, but, it just wasn't fitting our sound, what we were going for. So, so Butch had some stuff going on, so we took that out, the Floyd's Funk Revival. And like I said, went through that whole thing for 4 or 5 years. Christina got pregnant, came off the road, started Marvelous 3, and then that luckily we got another chance and it did pretty good. Did
Well,
okay.
you can validate or squelch these rumors. I heard, and I knew this because you guys were good. Did you get signed live by the agents that most people have to come in with the demo and all this stuff, and you hear the polished product? Or I heard that you got signed because you were so good live. Is that true?
That's a lot of it. Yeah, we were definitely a live band, but we had good songs. Butch is a great songwriter, and so we had great songs, but, yeah, our live show basically sold us, and we've always been known as our live show, just
Mhm.
high energy. I think it's growing up together. We just have the same feel. Um, like Butch, when he plays guitar, he plays real hard and staccato,
Mhm.
and I play drums kind of the same way. It just, it just works. It works good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are just tight musically. I'm not sure if the average person knows what that is, but can you explain the difference of, everybody thinks, well, if I can play guitar and you can play drums and we can get this guy to sing and we got a band, that's all it takes, right?
Mhm. I wish. No, it takes a lot of hard work, especially for a drummer. When I lived in Rome before we moved to LA, it was all fun, in high school, and it was good. Everything was good. But then when we started getting close to a record deal, I really had to crank down on using a metronome, a click track. I mean, to a drummer, that's like your Bible. I mean,
Mhm.
you've got to be good with a click track. Otherwise, they'll call somebody in and play drums for you. So, and on our first record in Southgang, we were working with Desmond Child. And he's like if you know anything in music, he's written a lot of great number one hits for million, Kiss, Bon Jovi, Cher, you name it. He's written for him. But so going with him for our first record was intimidating a little bit for me because it had to be dead on.
Oh.
So I worked my ass off as far as like working with the click track and now I feel comfortable with it. So
Well, that doesn't surprise me that you keep your act together. Yeah, you're just right on time. And I guess it's tough that the emotion that you're in the studio, that the tendency would be to rush,
yes, yes, that's always the thing.
especially playing what you guys play.
Yeah, it's high energy, so it kind of works. Well, Butch and I we're all very high energy, so it kind of we're on top of it a little bit, but it feels good to us. It feels good. It works with us.
Yeah.
They
You
say a good drummer can really work around the click track. Like as far as like say you're playing a verse, you can kind of lay back on it a little bit and then come pre-chorus, maybe on it, and then come chorus, maybe just on the top of the click.
Yeah.
And it's I've experimented with that. It's hard to do.
Without getting carried away and going too much.
You gotta, yeah, especially when you're playing in front of a bunch of people, your adrenaline's going.
Yeah.
I mean, drums, it's all about how you feel, your physical health. I mean, you can be tired. If you're tired, everything's going to seem so fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you drink a lot of Red Bulls or something, you're going to go out there and you're going to be, why is everything so slow? So I can remember one time we played in Colorado. This was in the Floyd's Funk Revival days, and we used to play like ski resorts. And one of the benefits of playing those small clubs during the Floyds is part of the pay was giving us ski passes. So we would go skiing all day. And I can remember one day that we skied all day and had to play that night. And we came back to play and we were kicked in and everybody was looking at me. And I was like, what's going on? And evidently I was dragging a little bit, but I was so tired from skiing, that I did not realize it.
Yeah.
So it's really a physical thing, and that's why I like, a lot of times at church and stuff, I play to a click track, and I like that because, nobody can tell me that the song was faster or
Yeah.
slower than it was the time before. It's
Right.
the same speed,
You're right on it. You
yeah.
mentioned that nightmare tour of Southgang. Think I heard this that the food was so bad in China that you guys drove 6 or 7 hours to McDonald's one day and loaded up because you guys couldn't stand the food. Is that true?
Yeah, we did a bunch of, like, probably 7, 8 different cities in China. I guess the biggest ones were Beijing and, Shanghai, and those 2 cities, they had actually a McDonald's, a Pizza Hut, and a Kentucky Fried Chicken, I think. But then we would do some of the cities that were a little further away where they didn't have anything like that. I mean, we played Inner Mongolia. Uh, so when we knew we were gonna go to places where they weren't gonna have the kind of food that we like,
Yeah.
we loaded up like pizzas and took them on the next plane flight, and it was terrible. I mean, they would feed us like fried grasshoppers.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. They brought a fish. It's one of those big round tables.
Yeah.
You sit in and they got the spinning thing in the middle. We're all sitting there and they bring a fish out and they look like they just caught it. They set it down on the middle and the thing went and the thing his gills and we all jumped up in our leather jackets. We were like, what?
What are you supposed to do
Take
with
it
that?
away. And all those Chinese people were laughing at us, but
Did they then eat it?
they ate it. I didn't eat it.
Oh my
I
gosh.
lost a lot of weight over there. Yeah, I mean, it was miserable, dude.
Oh my goodness.
It it was a nightmare.
Well, I was
That's a
gonna ask
whole
what's that?
that's a whole 'nother story.
I bet.
Yes.
Well, I was gonna ask you, like, okay, so you're touring. The good news is, hey, we're on a tour. Does the traveling ever get old?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's so much downtime. I mean, there are times where we had to do radio stuff and meet and greets and things like that, but overall, you're on the bus and you play your show at night. Here's the schedule. You play your show at night. You're there at the place until about 1 or 2 in the morning. Then you're back on the bus. You drive to the next. The bus driver parks usually at the venue. You're still on the bus sleeping. The bus driver is supposed to go get a hotel and sleep. Then we're at the venue all day with nothing to do, and it's just a lot of downtime, and that drives me crazy.
I'm glad you told me that because I was gonna ask what's a typical day on tour. So
Well, I ended up buying a bike and putting it in the bay of the bus. So I bought a bike and I would every city I'd just pull out my bike and go to coffee shop and things like that.
sure.
Yeah. But that's what I hate, just the downtime. I love playing the 2 hours every night or whatever,
Yeah.
but the downtime just drives me crazy. I have to be doing something productive. I don't if I feel like I'm just sitting around, which I'm sitting around, but I'm not, it's
Right. Well, that's
yeah,
awesome because that keeps you in shape too.
for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Now, okay, so the tour's over. And the typical headliner, you've been playing at 9 o'clock. Okay, so you're off the tour. You like that, but is there something that's like 9 p.m. tonight? I should be doing something. I should be going on stage. How do you reconcile that with your body?
Well, like I said, we haven't really been touring a lot, so it's not, it's hard after we do our little 2-week run or whatever, and then we come off the road, it's like back to reality. It's almost uh, it's a little depressing.
I bet.
You It takes you a minute to try to get back in the groove, and especially because 'cause we're only doing, like, 2 weeks of shows a year now.
Yeah.
So it is hard. It's hard just to, once you get in a groove, if you're out on the road for 6 weeks, you kinda get in a motion and then it's easy, but when you're only on for 2 and come off
Hmm.
and then back on, it's hard.
So after a 6 week tour, 2 weeks after that, what are you feeling then?
I'm ready to get back out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just yeah, back when we were really touring in Marvelous 3, it seems like we'd always go out for 6 weeks, and then we'd come home for maybe 5 days, and then we'd go out for another 6 weeks. It was always 6 weeks, and, me and our old guitar tech, we always had a funny thing between us because everything was always 6 weeks, 6 days off. It was just weird how it worked, you know?
What is what's your favorite venue that you've ever played?
I'm sorry?
What's your favorite place that you've ever played?
Hmm, ouch. Well, I guess one of the coolest places we've ever played would be, the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We did, the Hard Rock Fest back in it must've been around 2000 maybe, something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of good bands, Collective Soul, Silverchair, bunch of bands, and, it's like 140,000 people.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it was like if you ever saw videos of like the M3 Fest that they have, it's a big rock fest up in, I think in Wisconsin or something.
Hmm.
They got the big round, I guess, like drum platform with amps on it, and all they do is it just turns a circle, and the next band's ready to play.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very cool, but that's probably the best, one of the coolest shows we ever played, and it's kind of funny because it was here in Atlanta, and they did a contest on the radio station where a contestant could win a flight with us to fly into the Motor Speedway for the show, and we would fly out of Dobbins Air Force Base, which is in Marietta, and then fly into the Motor Speedway. And it was funny because the contestants were cool, but it was literally like a 5-minute flight. It was like we were in there and then down. It's kinda ridiculous, but it was fun.
Oh, at least they got to fly with you.
Yeah, yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
So that was gonna be my next question. What's the biggest audience? So that was 140,000, you said?
That's probably the biggest one,
That's nice,
for
man.
sure.
Have you ever done something like, I don't know, maybe Butch has done this, add up the number of shows that you guys have played?
No,
Too many to
no.
count, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but believe it or not, I still have all of our old tour, uh, rider, I guess, or whatever they give us at the
Yeah.
beginning of the tour. They give us the whole schedule with all the, hotels, venues, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I still have those from
That's awesome.
back in the day. Yeah, so I can still look at the clubs we played.
Right?
Yeah, because back then you would have to print it all out. Now, of course, they got an app on your phone
Right.
called Master Tours, and it's got all the information you need. So
Well, that's something you mentioned that I don't like it now that I've got a ticket on my phone. Yeah, it's easy to go to the venue. You don't lose your ticket. I used to like collecting those. Remember all those we had in high school?
yeah, yeah.
And you get that sucker from Turtle Records, like, I got it, baby.
Yes, sir. I used to keep all mine,
Yeah.
you know? I can remember Hines and I camping out in front of Turtles for the Kiss show. We got front row.
Holy cow.
Yeah, dude. It was amazing.
It's
Yeah, those are
right there across
good
from the
old
high school.
days. Yeah. Yeah.
Those were the good old, yeah. People like you stood in line and you drew the lottery. It's like, no, no, no. You were there and you camped out. And then they started stopping that.
And I still remember the girl's name that worked there. Her name was Luana.
Oh, really?
Yes, at Turtles.
That's great. Let me ask you a
Mm.
question about drummer. Who's your favorite drummer of all time? It doesn't have to be somebody you know.
Well,
I mean, we got
who
Rush,
would you think? I mean, who do most people say?
Neil Peart,
Or
Buddy Rich, Slug Mitchell.
no, or John Bonham.
Well, yeah, there you go. That's yours?
I think so for overall feel and yeah, yes, it is. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I
Yeah.
love Neil Peart, and gosh, I even like simple drummers like Bunny Carlos. You
Hmm.
know, so many, so many. Who do you like?
I mean, it's funny because I love our influence of jazz. And
Yeah,
there's like the movie Whiplash. I asked Mr. Inglis if he'd seen that movie Whiplash. As brutal as it was,
very good movie.
I know that there's a website called What Drives Winning, and these athletic coaches, the movie Whiplash was a case study on, I think, the guy Terrence Fletcher, the professor, and what an a-hole he was. And that
Huh.
also, what was really interesting was Miles Teller, his character, about how driven he was, that he would even break up with his girlfriend because all he cared about was being that good as a drummer. At the same time, a lot of beauty in being that driven to be good. And I thought, man, I never thought Mr. Inglis was like that, but there were times that I wanted to be so good to where didn't hear him getting on my case at 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
But he was also driving us to get better because he knew we could be better.
gosh, yeah, yeah. He was good in his ways. Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
can remember him sometimes going over a part over and over, and he would start it and stop,
ugh,
start it again, stop, start it again, stop. I mean, he was just like, gosh,
right. But you had
you
it,
know. Yeah, he had it, man.
and we learned it, and we got it.
Yep, for sure.
Well, I don't know. I mean, as far as favorite drummer to me, I guess Neil Peart is the best that I've ever seen.
Yeah, yeah, for technicality, for sure.
But did you see that one when he and Freddie were talking about just your approach to hitting it? And it's not just beating the hell out of it. It's
His wrist,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And it's like, the functionality and how clean some of it was. Um, Carter for Dave Matthews Band, he's so ambidextrous, and what he does with his left hand, I'm like, are you left-handed or right-handed? Because some of the stuff he does with his left hand, that to me is just so impressive.
yeah, yeah. Those guys, I love watching 'em. They're so impressive to me. All I can do when I watch them is laugh because they're so damn good, you know?
You're selling yourself short though, man. You could pick up some of that
Well,
stuff.
I'm not very technical. No, I think I'm solid. I feel solid, and, it's just having a good feel, and I think, my feel has a little bit of a swing to it, and I think that's from jazz, playing jazz band,
Right.
you know?
That was fun
Uh,
too.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, yeah, I think, technicality is for sure a big part of drumming, but, that doesn't define a drummer as good to me.
Okay. Define what makes a good drummer.
A good feel, uh, AC/DC, Phil Rudd, oh my gosh. Simple drummer, but the way he plays is just amazing. Um, yeah, just a good feel, and I think a little bit of a show. You gotta put a little bit of showmanship in
Hmm.
it. You don't, you know, I can't stand to watch a drummer not putting a little oomph into it, you know?
Let me ask you this. What is your favorite rudiment of all time?
I've grown to like a paradiddle diddle and a six-stroke roll.
No kidding. Six-stroke roll.
Yeah. It's hard because, it's you gotta think outside of, like, marching band.
Hmm.
You gotta be able to power stroke those on a drum kit. You can't it's not like a playing on a marching snare drum where it feels like you're playing on glass.
Right.
You know, you've gotta muscle through those, but if you can get it down, it's pretty cool. And, of course, paradiddles and a paradiddle diddle and doubles.
I always like the double drag paradiddle.
Okay. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah.
you know what?
But nowadays, they got so many rudiments, all those, hybrids,
Yeah, it's different than when we were there.
pair of fla-flas and stuff, that's ridiculous.
Right. All that Swiss Six stuff that we were learning.
Yes. I like Swiss, yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Okay, so indulge me here a bit. You ever play that game where you can have your choice sweet or salty, and you can only have one the rest of your life? Let me ask you. All right, you're going on tour. You can either have a double bass or double floor tom. What are you picking?
Double floor.
Okay. You're not a fan of the double bass?
I used to be, not much anymore. No.
How come?
I need to work on my right foot, you know? I figure get my right foot as good as I can get it before I even think about the left.
There you go.
But I like it. I like it for fun. I do have one set up on my kit,
Yeah.
uh, but just in case I ever wanna I still practice a little bit of it, but live, I don't really need it or use it.
Don't need it. Right. Now, you had that kit that your dad got you, that monster kit. I remember coming to your house in high school. It was your first
The
Rush
ta
kit. Remember that? That was,
the turquoise kit?
yes,
No, Tama. Yeah, it was a Tama
that was
kit.
fun.
Yes, it was, gosh. Had the little wind
It
chimes.
took a minute to get around, baby.
Yes, it was great. It was great. Gosh. You remember that. I can't believe you remember
Well,
that.
I remember coming over and playing it at your house. It was like, that was fun. I'm like, and then we put the headphones on. It's just like, oh man, this room is rocking. And I tell you something, my parents, my drum set was in my bedroom. They never once complained about the noise. Now, my brother and sister used to get mad because "Oh, I gotta study, whatever. But that was therapy for me. And I would just bang when I was at home. I wouldn't practice a ton. But it was fun to sit down at the set. I mean, you're upset about
Oh,
whatever in life, and just it's such good therapy. My parents, they would just close the den door when they're watching TV and close my bedroom
yeah.
door, and I'm up there working up a sweat, and it was like the greatest thing in the world, and they never once complained.
That's good parents.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
and
mine were the same way. I just would put on my headphones and just go at it, you
yeah,
know? And, Mr. Inglis actually lived, like, 2 doors down from me,
yeah, up
so he
down
could
the
hear
street,
me
right?
playing. Yeah, he could hear me playing.
Well, you know what? He had his little ways of poking us. I remember being a sophomore. And he said, the best drummer in this drum line is in seventh grade right now. He lives up the street from me and I hear him practicing all the time. He was talking about you, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, who's this
That's
punk
cool.
seventh grader coming up?
That's funny. That's great. That's
Okay.
great.
Let me ask you this one. Splash cymbal or China?
Neither.
Really? You don't like them? You don't need
Mm-mm.
them?
No, they're effect symbols. I don't really, we're straight up pop rock. I mean, we don't need that crap.
There you go. All right. Let me ask you my final question. If you were giving advice to a young musician or drummer, and, I've got a band member in my house. My son's a bass player and they've got a band and love watching them play and they practice for hours on end. What advice would you give any young musician today?
Do it for fun first. Make sure you're having fun with it. Don't, especially these days, don't, gosh, man, I don't want to say something that I did myself, but the business is different these days. So, I wouldn't, I'd do it for fun first. And then if, have something on the back burner. Don't go full time into it because a lot of bands don't sell a lot of records these days, and unless you're committed to going out on the road and giving up everything and touring, I would just do it for fun. It's hard for me to say that because I'm just very discouraged with the music business these days. The way music's sold and everything like that. It's just I don't think it's a good path to trying to go get record deals and stuff like that anymore. They can do an album by themselves now in their bedroom,
Hmm.
and it sounds great.
Through the
So,
computer and or you get to be a hit on YouTube with that one song and you're considered this great musician, right?
yeah, man, it's just backwards now to me. It's not what it used to be. And all those shows, the voice and all that. I mean, it's there's some great musicians and singers and stuff on there, but it's I just don't think it's right. You just win a contest and you get a record deal, and
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and it's no, I think you're being a little humble about that because I know talking to you about how many years you guys were in a van and doing this, and before you had road crews to help you out. I mean, it's a pain to set it up and take it down. And as a drummer, how many different things you have to put together and take down.
Yes, I mean, like I said, in the '90s, between like '92 till about '97, we were in a 15-passenger van and did everything ourselves. Traveled, drove everything, set up everything. Uh, so yeah, it just I guess it's aggravating to see something handed to somebody by winning a contest.
Right.
It's just good luck.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah,
I guess the proof's in the pudding because how many people had albums and they were a one hit wonder and that the pressure of that, make that hit again, make
that's
another
right.
album with all those hits.
That's right. That's right. That's another side to look at.
Well, I appreciate your time, Doug Slug. And I think everybody, even if you're not a musician, you can understand the discipline that you mentioned that you learn from band. And it's that consistent effort day after day after day after day and following your passion. And I appreciate it, man. And one of the things I had in my notes, I was going to mention to you guys that the first song on just about every record that you played, like even going back to Southgang with Boys Night Out, and then Appetite off Math, and then Little Head. And it's like, if no one ever saw the Marvelous Three, if someone's never seen them, check it out on YouTube or keep your ears open for when they go on tour because you guys are so good live. And I remember watching you last month. You were smiling during the first song. I was like, Doug's having a good time tonight.
Yes, that's my home, man. That's where I'm most comfortable is behind my drums. And gosh, just last year, was it last year? They threw me out on the front of the stage to sing a song. Did you hear about
I
that?
saw it. That was good.
I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Oh my
Was
gosh,
it
that's
Blur?
not me, man.
It was
That's not
good.
me. Put me behind my drums, and I'm good to go. Spit on you, I'll do anything, but put me out on front of the stage. That's enough.
What did Butch say? Hey, this is rarely seen, just like Haley's Comet, Slug singing.
Yeah, he's like, "That's like spotting Haley's comet."
Right. That was it. Yeah. It was good.
And I did it just because Butch and them were so excited for me to do it. They're like, "You gotta do it, you gotta do it." And I was like, "I'm gonna do it just to please y'all,"
Right.
you know? And it was fun. I gotta admit, it was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we close, do you prefer a continental or match grip?
What now?
Conventional or match grip?
Oh gosh, Matt, for sure.
There you go. I slipped up with my tennis because,
Greg Smith used to get on to me all the time when I took lessons
yeah,
because he tried to teach me traditional, and I would play that way on my lesson, but then I'd go home and switch around,
right.
and then I would go back to my lesson, and we would start, and I'd be ready to go, and he would just stare me down. I was like, "What? Let's go." And he'd look at my hands, and
Yeah.
I'd go, "Gosh." I had to switch over to tradition,
So I,
yeah.
I don't know how he did that, getting around the toms the way he did.
Well, like Stuart Copeland, he smacks that snare
Yeah.
playing tradition. I mean, he's wow, man.
Talk about elbows, right?
I just can't I just I didn't try hard enough to play that way.
Well, preference, you're getting the job done. I mean, not many rock drummers were doing that though.
Right, 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 right. And that's also another thing I've always thought of is I like it doesn't look as cool, but I like drummers that lead with their left hand on the hi-hat.
Okay.
To me, it makes more sense because you can just get around.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It just makes more sense, but I don't play that way.
Well, first time I saw Phil Collins play before I realized he had his kit lined up as a lefty. But then he was playing on someone's right-handed set. I'm like, oh my gosh, that guy's left-handed. And it makes a
Yes.
valid point. Why would you cross over?
Yeah, and when I used to teach, I had a couple of left-handed players, and they would always ask me, "Should I set up left-handed with like the hi-hat on the opposite side and the whole?" And my suggestion was no, because if you ever have to play on somebody else's kit,
You're jacked.
you're screwed.
Yeah, right.
If anything, maybe lead with your left, but I would not switch around the whole kit.
Mhm.
That's just I don't think that's a good idea.
But, remember when, in marching band, we're doing those one-handed exercises, and because our accents were so soft with our left
Yeah,
hand,
that
right? Yeah, right. Yeah, and it's like you felt it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Good.
think that's awesome that, to train I do this with kids, like, you switch hands, and it's a great learning thing that when you show them something with your opposite hand, there's that brain-body connection.
It's hard, man. I try to when I do my rudiments and stuff, I try to start with the left hand a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's just and it's a whole different feel.
And how slow do
You
you
know?
feel, right?
Yes, yes.
That's awesome. Hey, man, I appreciate your time. It's been
For sure.
been a little trip down memory lane at the same time.
I love it. I love it, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, I appreciate your insights, and I'm sure just about everybody that watches this is going to learn something from you. So thank you again for your time, Doug Mitchell, Slug. Check out everything at Marvelous 3 on YouTube and see if you can find some South Gang when the hair was looking good.
Yes.
Thanks again for your time, Doug. And until
To you.
next time, make the most of your time and always hang tough. Have a great day. Turn that off.